Okay, so this is how you're going to use Lightroom to fix your photos. So hopefully you have Lightroom right down here. And so you're going to open Lightroom, and yours might look a little different when it's opening because you may have opened it for the first time right now. But here's what it looks like, and it'll probably show up with something like library first, okay? And so I kind of want most of you set your practice photos folder over on the right. Mine's right here, so I'm going to move this down here. And you want to make sure this is on library for now. And over here is where you can get all of the photographs, and it'll create collections. A lot of this is really involved. I'm just going to teach you some real basic skills today. So first thing that you want to do is you want to import. And when you import, it's going to bring up, and mine has all of these because that's what's on the card. And right now, right here, if you can see where I'm circling the arrow, that's the card is highlighted. But if I click on this, then I could look through here. But really the easiest thing to do to import photos is to grab your folder and to just drag it, and then it will import photos for you. So I have this folder called practice photos, and I had already imported them before I made this video, so that's why they look like this, but yours should look just normal, okay? And then you're going to click this import button right down here, and and then it'll bring you to this screen here. And so you'll have these photos, and then we're going to develop. So you're going to click up here where it says develop. And as you click on the different photos, you'll see over here, this is called the histogram, the exposure changes. So I took one photo, none of these photos are really great. I did that on purpose so I could show you how to fix some things. If your histogram looks like this, where everything goes over to the left, you're going to want to do some fixes to it. So when you look over here on the presets, and if this is collapsed like this, you just click the down arrow. And we're just going to go with general presets because that's really the most ethical thing to do in terms of fixing your photos. So I'm going to click first, and I'm not going to click anything, I'm just going to highlight. And if you look up here, here's the original photo. And then I hover over it, and I can see what that's going to do to all the different things. Because there's no faces in this, it's not going to find that. So really, this auto tone is the best option. So I'm going to click auto tone, and then you can see my histogram with the exposure and shadows and everything looks a little more normal. So I fixed the lighting a little bit. So you might have a good photo where the lighting is just a little bit off. Put it in Lightroom, go to auto tone, and then it will look a little bit better. Okay, now, if you're looking at this photo, you're saying, Mr. House, there's all of this up here. You can see the iPad card, I can see this, and if this is supposed to be a symmetrical photo, then it just needs to be these two trash cans. So I'm going to click on this dotted box right here, and this will allow me to crop. So I'm going to pull this over, and then I'm going to pull this down to right there. And now, pull this in just a little bit so I have about the same amount of wall on both sides, and then I click done, and now I have a much better symmetrical photo. Okay, so I've done that. Now how do I get it so that I can turn it in? Here's what you're going to do. And this is where it gets a little complicated. You're going to go to File, and then you're going to go to Export. And you're going to change where it says export to, you're going to still export it to your hard drive, but you're going to change this to a specific folder. And then you're going to choose, and it'll pop up a Finder window, and you're going to click on New Folder. First though, make sure you're on your desktop. You're going to click on New Folder, and you're going to title this Photo Quiz. I'm going to click Create. Okay. And I forgot to show you one thing, so I'm going to cancel that for a second. Okay. Before you do that, you need to make sure that it's named symmetrical, if it's a symmetrical photo. If it's a different label, horizon, grouping, whatever, then you name it right here. And so if the default is something different, file name sequence, you want to change it to custom name. So you're going to change that, rename, check that box, custom name. Then you're going to scroll down and you want to make sure that the image format is set to JPEG. So it might just say original here. It might say TIFF. You want to change it to PNG if it's not PNG. Okay? And then all the other settings are fine. Okay, so we want to export it to a specific folder. So we're going to choose, we have that photo quiz folder. I'm going to select choose. And then I'm going to click export. And then I'm going to minimize Lightroom. And I'm going to look for that photo quiz folder and I'm going to open it, highlight it, hit the space bar, and there's the photo that I'm going to turn in. So what you're doing with using Lightroom, you're going to take those photos that you've been stockpiling in your practice photos, you're going to fix them in Lightroom, you're going to crop them, you're going to maybe change the lighting a little bit. Here's my asymmetrical photo. I'm not wild about the histogram, the exposure over there. If I hover over auto tone, that looks a little bit better. It's still a little stark. It's not my favorite, but I'm just going to call it good. I got a little bit of this over here. So I'm going to click on that box. I'm going to pull this in. I might pull it down just a little bit. Pull it in just a little bit over here. And if you notice as I'm doing this with the cropping over here, I can look over here in the navigator and it shows me what that picture looks like, so I can see that I've got about the same on both sides here. Then I'm going to click done. And then I'm going to go to File, Export. Now it should remember that I saved the last one to the photo quiz folder. So I'm going to put it in the photo quiz folder again. But this photo, I'm going to change the name to asymmetrical. I always scroll down and double check that it's a JPEG. Then I click export and then I'm good. Let's try one more. Here's a repetition photo. Not my best work. Again, on purpose because I wanted to show you. I'm going to check the auto tone. I'm just looking at it like that and I go to auto tone. It does brighten it up just a little bit. I'm going to click on the box. I'm going to pull this in. And here I'm going to pull this into the eraser. I'm going to pull in this side. And then I'm going to pull this down. Eesh. Really not a good photo. Okay. And then I'm going to pull this up. And really to make it a better repetition photo. It's so hard with that cart. I really want the tops. We'll try that. I'm going to click done. I'm going to go to File, Export. I'm going to name this one Repetition. I'm in the photo quiz folder. I double check that. I scroll down and double check JPEG. I click Export. And that's how to use Lightroom to get your photos ready to turn in for your photo quiz.